How's it going, everybody, and welcome to part 2 of the top 5 shinies that change their shiny colors between generations. And today I'll be bringing you another 5 shinies that ended up getting their shinies color changed in between generations. We'll kick off with number 5, and I do hope you enjoy. Also, feel free to tell me about any shinies I might have missed down in the comment section below. So let's get started with number 5. Number 5. So, kicking off the list, or rather knocking off the list, is going to be Hitmonchan, which changed its shiny coloring between Generation 2 and forward. Back in Generation 2, Hitmonchan actually had a purple color on its shirt and the gloves. The new shiny color consists of a lighter version of blue, which I think fits pretty well, but the purple back in Generation 2 was also pretty darn good for a shiny, and it's a shame that we do not see it anymore in newer games. I do personally prefer the purple shiny version, and I do think it's kind of sad that there's been no more versions of it, so I guess we're gonna have to stick with the light blue for the near future. But that's going to be it for this one. Let's go to the next shiny. Number 4. Now, coming next is going to be Cyndaquil, and Cyndaquil is definitely one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, including, Totodile. I love both of them as starters, and I always wanted to have both of them, but I never could back then. But then again, this is one of the coolest old shinies you'll ever see. Back in Generation 2, the whole evolution line of Cyndaquil, including Quilava and Typhlosion, had a freaking sick purple shiny that looked perfect, but that was really ruined by the updated version, which made the coloring to a more brown color that I personally feel like was very stale in comparison with the incredibly sick colors of the purple that totally outmatched and kind of, destroyed the boring and stale brown of the newer versions. I do really feel like the old one was so much better, and if they actually reverted back, I would have been so much happier with having that old purple, which just looked so incredible. Number 3. Now, next up is going to be Machop, that changed its shiny coloring between Gen 2 and turned to a very light version that started looking more bright in future, generations, essentially. So the original version was a very dark grey version that looked very rocky, but it got updated, and the newer version that came out after Gen 2 was a definitively interesting and kind of good working shiny that, fit way better. It may not have been one of the best ones, but it was definitely a working shiny. It did look pretty nice, and what I kind of felt was really interesting is that the updated version just generally looked and felt very reminiscent of the original version of Machop itself from Generation 2, which is really interesting and just a lot better than the grey, boring, really dark grey Machop that we had in Generation 2. So the update I actually think is really nice, kind of really reminiscent and a callback to the original form. Really looks nice, and the coloring are really close, in the new shiny, are really close to the old shiny of Machop back in Gen 2. Either way, let's go to the next one. Number 2. And coming in next is going to be Shiny Squirtle that changed its shiny from Generation 2. Now, most of these Pokemon are actually from Gen 2, but let's just go right into it. The shiny back in Generation 2 had an interesting thing going for it with a pretty weird green shell on it, and the rest of the body was just normal light blue. So if you actually look at it right here, it was very different. It was very interesting that they added green of all things, which I think is pretty cool, to be honest. But then again, in the newer version, since Generation 3, it has kind of changed drastically. In Gen 3, Squirtle has blue color, which just you can see on the screen right here, and the other versions are a bit darker, a bit of a darker tint of blue that's just way darker than the original forms, like you can see right here. So as the generation progressed, it kind of just got a bit darker in the shinies. The Gen 3 one was very light, the Generation 2 one was light, but all the other ones are just normal colors, but just very different tints of blue. And I think Generation 3 had the coolest tint of blue, which was very light colored, but I still think it was beautiful. Let's go to the next one. Number 1. So coming next is going to be the most insane change on this list, being Shiny Charizard with that beautiful purple shiny from Generation 2 that also turned kind of grayish in Generation 3, and later on in Generation 4 and everything after that, it turned into a black version. And I love all of them. The purple version looks crazy good looking, but I do feel like the updated versions that have turned it into black is definitely the coolest one in my opinion. The latest one is definitely overall the best one in my personal opinions, but I do feel like the inclusion of the Generation 3 one shiny here is also a perfect addition to the history of this shiny and the history of this Pokemon shiny versions. Being kind of grayish is also pretty nice. I do really wish that we could get a updated version, a 3D model version of the shiny Charizard from Generation 2, which was purple. It would be so cool to actually see that happen. But we can always, kind of look back at the old shiny Charizard and kind of, just admire it and appreciate it. And also do admire the new shiny that is black and really does look overall badass. But that's going to be it for this video. And if you guys enjoyed the video, do drop a like down below. It does help out. Also, comment down below if there are any shinies that I have missed, any shinies that you think should be on this list that have changed their shinies over time. Please let me know in the comments. I'd gladly want to make, future videos like this if if the more comes up, make a part 3 to this. Then again, that's up to you guys if you want to see that. Either way, drop a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for future videos. My name has been Ruffle Rowlet. I'll catch you all the next time. Bye bye, trainers.